Welcome back to Sacramento Smooth Jazz. And I have a treat for you. As I mentioned earlier, we have Paula Atherton who has joined us today. You've heard her music. You've seen so many things about her. In fact, I'll just touch a little bit about her bio, but I want to go a little bit deeper into what her bio says on her page. And she's going to share where she's going to be. She's going to share where she's been. She's going to share some of her experiences with us today so we can get a deeper understanding as to who the artist is. Paula, how are you today?
I'm doing great, and it's so nice to speak with you.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. I see here all of the experience that you've had. You have had an amazing storied history of an experience of songwriting. You play the flute, saxophone. It's not just mainstream jazz; it's contemporary jazz. Well, you've had #1 hits. You've been on the the charts on Billboard, Media Base, Smooth Jazz Network, even. And, that has to just make you feel really good and appreciate it as a result of your playing. Tell me, how does that make you feel overall, just as a person and as an artist?
Well, I'll put it this way. I would have done the same thing no matter what happened. But the fact that I had some success with it makes it a lot easier to be able to work.
Indeed. You've shared the stage. The list is just endless, but I'll just name a few for those who have just tuned in and don't know. But we're talking about Brian Simmons, Althea Renee, David Sanborn, Bob James, Mark Antoine, Gerald Albright. We're just naming a few here. And you've performed on various stages throughout the United States and the world. I am personally curious about your engagement when you were at the Blue Note in New York City with the late Hank Jones. Tell me about that experience.
Yeah, well, I didn't know that I was going to be doing that. And I got a call from this guy, Len Triola, who books mostly straight ahead stuff, traditional jazz. And I had done a show or two for him here and there. But it was like a little big band at the Blue Note that was playing the music of Frank Sinatra. It was like a tribute to Frank Sinatra. And whoever was playing alto canceled. So he called me up and he said, listen, I need you to play at the Blue Note for a week with Hank Jones. And I was like, what? You need me to what? And then he repeated it again. I was like, okay, when is this? And of course it started like in a couple days, So we had a rehearsal and, it was really cool. We've since lost a bunch of the people that were in the band. Not only Hank, but two of the other horn players, Joe Wilder and Eddie Burt. Eddie Burt played trombone and Joe Wilder played trumpet. And every night that I did that show with them, on the breaks, they would tell me stories about 52nd Street and Charlie Parker, Dizzy Gillespie and Thelonious Monk. And they played with these people. They were telling me like firsthand, you can't get that in a book anyplace.
It's amazing how I'm listening to you and I'm reflecting on not just your style of play, which you have an amazing range because, and that tells me, that speaks to your influence when I listen to your various styles of play and on the number of hits that you've had. It tells me she definitely has R&B and pop influences overall. I can hear it. And that's something. Tell our listeners, who has been your influence overall?
So basically, my background's in traditional jazz, and first I learned, to sing horn solos, and I would write some words to them. And then I was studying jazz on flute and added saxophone later because I didn't have all the colors that I needed to be able to do my art, I guess is one way I can say it. But I was tired of playing the same songs over and over again. So my way to deal with that, traditional jazz, you make up your own arrangement, but it's pretty much American songbook and whatnot, So I thought I would just start writing my own stuff. And when I did, what came out was all the different types of music that I've listened to and that I like. And so what I write is kind of eclectic because of that. And yeah, you're right. Old school R&B, Stevie Wonder, of course, and pop, I like, and rock, all different kinds of Latin music. I've played in Latin bands in New York. So all those different types of music kind of give me material to work with that every once in a while I'll come up with a motif. Or if it's a vocal tune that I'm going to sing, then it's a story about something that happened usually. And I start to write the song, and then as I'm writing it, I start thinking about, well, it's obvious if it's a vocal tune, but if not, what instrument is it good for? Soprano sax, alto sax, flute, how am I hearing it? That's kind of, some of my writing, I've done a couple tunes that might be considered straight ahead, but the majority of them are in the contemporary jazz genre.
Now, you mentioned, you can tell what's in a vocal. You're a vocalist as well, which I didn't mention in the very beginning. For those who do not know, but it's obvious for those who follow you. How does that come to be? I know you've done some great things, but you're also a great vocalist as well. So what inspires you there?
Well, voice was my first instrument in elementary school. I was always in the chorus and in competitions and whatnot. And then I got my first instrument, physical instrument, in fourth grade, which was my first choice, but I wound up with a flute. I just really wanted to play music so bad that I didn't even care what instrument I got, really. I was just happy to get one and start learning how to play and reading music. And I was just so excited to be able to do that, Right.
Now, with you being a writer, you've also collaborated with and also produced music with other individuals as well, such as Greg Manning, Matt Medina, Nathan Mitchell, Paul Brown, just to name a few. Tell me about those experiences.
Yeah, so what changed, I think, over my last couple albums is I started to work with a lot of different producers. And what I enjoy about that is they'll bring something a little bit different to the table than I would just by myself. Lou Jimenez produces or had been producing the majority of my stuff and still does, but working with some outside producers like you mentioned, Greg Manning, and I just did a song with Adam Hawley that's going to come out. It's going for ads on July 18th, so people will be hearing that relatively soon.
Right, we talked a little bit about that before, and I'm looking forward to hearing that with the rest of the world on the 18th of July, no doubt about that. So I know it's going to be another chart topper for you. You have just so many on there. I know that you also have played in Spain, and I see that. But with your Italian heritage and your background, have you had an opportunity to play in Italy?
I haven't been able to play there yet, but I'm hoping that that's going to be real soon because I would just go there on vacation. I've only been in a couple cities there. Well, I was playing in Monte Carlo and I took the train over, so I got to see a little bit of San Remo and Ventimille, but I really got to go back there and play and see a few cities. Everything in Italy is amazing.
Right. It's a fantastic place, no doubt. And, one thing I haven't heard as I was listening to you here is that no influences or experience with your family. And so were you the only one that has musical experience? There was no one in the family that had it?
Yeah, I'm the only one. There were writers in my family, but no musicians at all.
So that's amazing how that just, kind of hit you where you just wanted to play music. You didn't care what instrument. And then I think we're thankful. I think it's safe to say that we are all thankful that you chose the instruments that you have because you have done a phenomenal job with that. You played all over the world, you're all over the country, and people hear your name, especially in the industry. They know you're bringing the A game. They're like, oh, she is amazing. And that's the word I'm getting when I'm talking to other artists. Your name pops up as, the elite, that she's not playing around. She's serious about this business. She's amazing. That's the one thing I constantly hear about.
Well, that's nice to hear. I just do my best work every single time. And, of course, in the back of your mind, you're always thinking, well, some people are going to like this album better than that one. And they're going to compare them and do this and that. You don't know what people are going to like or not like. All you could do is do your best work and just let it go.
And that's a life lesson for anyone. What you just said there. It's not about pleasing people. It's about doing what's best for you and doing what you love. And the people, especially when it comes to music, you're playing, you're doing the best you can with your influences, your passion. They love it. Great. They like it. Wonderful. They love it. Great. And that's just a phenomenal life lesson, in my opinion, to do what you love and do it with passion. That's really amazing. With the last couple of years that we've had this I would call it, I'm just going to say this issue that's been going around. You know, we've lost a lot of people in the industry, outside the industry. You know, how have you adjusted just emotionally, just mentally, just thinking about this whole thing? Has it shaped the way you write? Has it shaped the way you play?
Let's say that I never took things for granted before, but now I really don't take them for granted because, you know, when you see, like I'm in New York, right? So when you see all that stuff that was going on, especially in the beginning, like losing 8,000 people a day, it was really scary. Being unemployed for like a year and a half, not being able to tour or anything, you know, when we were in the thick of it, musicians just didn't know, are we going to be able to work again? Is this it? When it's going to stop? So, you know, when we first started to get out and do the first few shows, it was just, you realize how much you missed it. And the people also, you know, really needed it. You know, the concert goers, they missed being part of that whole, you know, social scene, belonging to something, seeing other people, hanging out, you know, that whole thing. A lot of these types of concerts in this genre, you know, become like a social thing for people, so they can go out and see their friends and see other people and have fun. And some of the concerts, and especially the cruises, sell out before they even know who the artists are because they just want to be in that atmosphere so much.
No, you have a point there. You know, people, it's a social thing, and they'd love to get out, and you know, a lot of adjustments have been made. But yeah, you're right. I've noticed it from my own self. I see something happening, I don't even know who's the line. I just want to be there. You know, I want to be present. So yeah, I totally understand that. So speaking of concerts, you know, I understand you're going to be in California, and let's talk about that for a quick sec there. What's going on?
So I'm going to be able to play once again. I got to play there for the first time in December for a holiday show, but I'm coming back to the Empress Theater in Vallejo, and I'm going to be playing there on Saturday. And we're doing a fundraiser for Faith Food Fridays, an organization that helps feed those in need and I think gives them, you know, some supplies and things that they might also, everyday type supplies and those kind of things. And I'm on it. Dean James and Joel Del Rosario and some local bands are going to be opening the show. And yeah, I love California, so I'm always looking forward to coming back whenever I can.
Nice indeed. You know, I'm sure a lot of people are probably going, hey, I got to get to Vallejo, which is just, you know, about an hour's drive from Sacramento, about 35 minutes past Oakland. 45, 50 minutes past San Francisco. So if you're in the area, come on down and just go to empresstheater.org for more information on that. So I look forward to seeing you. Actually, I plan to be there. Some of my family plan to be there as well. So looking forward to seeing you perform and, you know, do the hits that you've been doing. And just, it's going to be an amazing experience to see someone of your caliber, you know, play. And I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, thank you. I'm looking forward to it too.
Yeah, awesome. Really appreciate you. Before we leave, what I want to do, I want to leave going into one of your tunes. What would you like the listeners to hear?
Well, I would say probably the first song I got a #1 on Billboard. Can You Feel It?
Nice. Yes, I'm actually was thinking about that. But I was like, I didn't want to assume. So folks, as we go, you know, we're talking with Paula Atherton, vocalist, saxophonist extraordinaire, and you'll have an opportunity to hear this interview again, but we're going to lead off right now with Can You Feel It? Right here on Sacramento Smooth Jazz.
Thanks for listening to Sacramento Smooth Jazz. To continue listening to Smooth Jazz 24/7, follow Sac Smooth Jazz on social media and listen by going to sacsmoothjazz.fm.